Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a day full of great events. We'll be starting out our day with our keynote speaker, Minister Monte McNaughton, who is the MPP for Lambton, Kent, Middlesex, and serves as the Minister of Labour, Training and Skills Development for Ontario. Thank you, Minister, for joining us. Minister McNaughton graduated from Westervelt Business College in London and completed executive programs at the Richard Ivey School of Business at Western University. A former small business owner, Minister McNaughton was president of the Strathroy and District Chamber of Commerce from 2009 to 2010. First elected as an MPP in 2011, the minister has served as opposition critic for a variety of portfolios, including economic development. After serving as the Minister of Infrastructure, Minister McNaughton was appointed as the province's Minister of Labour in 2019. His responsibilities have expanded to include training and skills development, and as of January 2020, the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. CAPIC met with the minister in February to discuss pertinent issues facing Ontario, such as business development, regional immigration, and the role of international students. And more recently, we've been asked to provide input regarding how various sectors are impacted by the foreign credential recognition. Specifically, the Ministry of Labour, Training and Skills Development is seeking our feedback regarding the potential need for the removal of barriers to credential recognition for internationally trained workers, while balancing the importance of labour, supply and economic growth. Recognizing that a problem exists is the first step towards working towards a solution, and we applaud the Minister for this. Minister McNaughton has advised us that he has two pillars for his vision, which he will be talking about today: supporting newcomers and helping them access employment, especially those in the skilled trades, ensuring that newcomers have access to the programs needed to be able to integrate in the province and to hit the ground running. We look forward to hearing more on this today from the minister directly, but the minister has advised us that he's going to be taking questions from the floor towards the end. But we kindly request everyone to keep your questions focused on the big picture as discussed in this intro, and to avoid questions about processing times, case-specific issues, etc. Please type your questions in the Q&A box, and we will try to get to them, to as many as we can. But before I give the floor to the minister, I want to remind everyone that we have our AGM today at 2, so please log in. It's a separate login detail. It's going to be 2 sharp, and this session will continue after that. So without further ado, please welcome Ontario's Minister of Labour, Training and Skills Development, Minister Monte McNaughton.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm really excited to be joining all of you today. I see there's about 140 people on the call now, so this is a really exciting opportunity for me to hear from you and to learn from you and to meet you. When I first became minister, the links between my ministry and your organizations would not have been very clear, to be completely honest. The ministry I joined way back now in 2019 really focused on workplace fairness, health and safety, which of course it still does today. However, as was mentioned, our mandate expanded considerably in the past 2 years. And that's one of the reasons I have the privilege of addressing all of you here this afternoon. When the training and skills development portfolios were transferred to our ministry, we took responsibility for helping people learn about, train for, and land good, meaningful, and fulfilling jobs. Then, last year, our ministry gained the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, and that new addition really makes perfect sense. The program supports Ontario businesses by nominating people for permanent residence who are the best fit for local in-demand jobs. It's all about connecting qualified, hardworking people with good jobs so that they, their families, and Ontario can grow and prosper. Just last month, our mandate grew again. We are now the Ministry for Immigration. We believe that jobs and immigration are linked. We believe in the importance of connecting the dots among immigration, settlement, learning, training, working, and succeeding. With a one-window approach, we believe that we can better attract, support, and protect newcomers to ensure their success. We're now better positioned for the future. We know that immigration will play a crucial role in supporting Ontario's economy in the coming years, and especially coming out of COVID-19. It's worth reminding all of ourselves, We welcome more immigrants and refugees every year than any province in the country. In 2019, over 150,000 newcomers arrived here in Ontario, accounting for about 45% of all immigrants to Canada that year. Make no mistake, we need these newcomers as much as they need us. Newcomers generally make up about 80% of Canada's population growth, but last year, due to the global pandemic, immigration to Canada plummeted. Our population grew by just less than half of 1%. Not since 1916 has our country experienced such small population growth. This means there are paychecks going unclaimed because newcomers could not arrive here in Ontario. And there are still vacancies out there, even during this pandemic. Unfilled vacancies slow business growth and job creation. There are expanding and emerging sectors. Vacancies were rising most rapidly in services we rely on, like health and education, in the last quarter of 2020. On top of that, baby boomers across our country, including right here in Ontario, are aging out of the workforce at an alarming rate. In 1971, Canada's worker to retiree ratio was 7-to-1. It's expected to be 2-to-1 in 2035. If those numbers don't alarm you, they should. Canada needs immigrants now more than ever before. The folks at Scotiabank recently reported that immigration is expected to add about $2.9 billion to Ontario's GDP by 2023. These are the facts. So let me walk through how my ministry's newly added immigration portfolio will fit into the seamless experience we aim to offer newcomers here in our province. A young man named Amir wants to move to Ontario from Egypt. Amir is an electrician with a college degree. He applies through the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program and is nominated for permanent residence because his ability to work in the skilled trades is in demand here in Ontario. We have a looming shortage of skilled tradespeople, with many experienced journey persons expected to retire in the next decade. In fact, nearly 1 in 3 journey persons today are over the age of 55, and the average age of an apprentice in Ontario is 30. We need Amir. When he comes to settle here, he first stays with relatives but needs to rent an apartment of his own. Our newcomer settlement program can help him do just that. Amir also finds that he needs to improve his English to participate in job interviews. Our free language training is there to help him with this too. And lastly, he also finds that although he was a qualified electrician in Egypt, he needs to be certified here in Ontario. This is where our bridge training program comes in. Together, these programs set him on the path to becoming a fully qualified journey person, earning a great salary, and maybe even becoming his own boss. He could work for himself or, in time, grow his own business, partner with others, and create jobs right here in Ontario. That's what success looks like in our province, and Amir's path is just one of many. In the coming months and years, we're looking forward to hundreds of thousands of new immigrants following their own paths to success right here in Ontario. We will help people just like Amir access opportunity and employment. The job is not only about collecting a paycheck. Work is an expression of dignity as persons. We welcome international students, family members of people already living here, investors and Canadians moving from other provinces. It's an exciting time to participate in building Ontario, from where I stand and from where you do too. Please know that as immigration consultants, you play a key role in the success that newcomers will have in our province. You've got your ears to the ground and an extensive network of connections across Ontario and around the world. I want you to know that my door is always open to all of you, and I look forward to hearing your insights and suggestions as we emerge from COVID-19 and begin welcoming people to our province again. Thank you.
Minister, thank you so much for this information, and it really warms all our hearts because especially the skilled trades in specific, is an area where we've advocated for many years, and we've seen that they've kind of fallen through the cracks, whether it's federal or provincial. So this is really welcome news for all of us. And as you know, like you said, we're on the ground, we're in the trenches, as some people call us, and we appreciate this collaboration in terms of this information sharing. I was wondering if you are okay with us asking questions at the stage.
Yep.
So I actually have a few questions lined up from before from our members, and until we have some questions sent in from the chat. And I would like to follow up on something that you've actually touched on in your presentation. You mentioned that Ontario actually receives the bulk of immigration from the federal level, even not even under the immigrant nominee program. So the question that many Ontarians and even us as immigration consultants would like to ask you, and maybe start a discussion, is why, considering that the percentage in 2019 and 2020 is around 42 to 40%, could you not say that we could probably save taxpayer dollars by streaming or aligning some programs and maybe looking into different programs in terms of making the best of the immigration for the province of Ontario, considering that at the federal level, most designated candidates are actually landing in Ontario?
Well, look, we're always looking to simplify the system and reduce barriers. I agree. I think it was back in 2019, about 45% of all immigrants came to Ontario. One of the things I've been advocating to the federal government about is growing the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. In fact, I work quite closely with the federal minister, Marco Mendicino. And this year, we have been able to successfully grow the immigrant nominee program to 9,000. Our ask of the federal government is to increase that to about 15,000 next year. So we're continuing to call on the federal government to grow the Ontario immigrant nominee program. As far as really making this more effective for employers in Ontario, but also for newcomers. One of the things we've done is created a one-stop shop here at the Ministry of Labor Training and Skills Development. This will be, I think, really beneficial to your consultants, as well as, and most importantly, to newcomers. So as I outlined, all immigration services and programs that were previously split up across different ministries in Ontario are now housed right here in our ministry. So previously they were part of the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services and other ministries, but now they're streamlined to be run here. And I think we know the local market needs, so it's about ensuring that we fill those local in-demand jobs and to give people a better way of life here in Ontario.
Thank you, Minister. So when we talk about immigration, and there's a lot of demand for business immigration. So as of, there has been a revamp with the expression of interest and some changes to cater to the needs of the province. As of now, there hasn't been any nominations for 2021. How do you see business immigration evolve in Ontario?
Well, it's certainly a priority for our government. We have a lot of, I think, exciting and sensible changes coming to the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. One of the stats that always stands out for me is there was a study done by the Conference Board of Canada prior to COVID-19, and it showed that every single day in Ontario, 200,000 jobs were going unfilled. It costs the economy about $24 billion per year. The good news is that those jobs are actually still going unfilled. So my priority is to upskill and train workers here in Ontario that have been impacted by job losses or reduction in hours. But also I see a huge opportunity to recruit skilled workers from outside of Canada to fill these jobs. I always start with the premise that good, meaningful jobs change lives. They strengthen families and build better communities. And recruiting, talent, whether they're entrepreneurs from outside Canada or skilled workers, is going to make Ontario an even a greater place to live, work, and raise a family. And that's my priority.
So can we understand that there could be another kind of reshape or revamp or evolvement for the current business immigration program we currently have?
Yeah, we're working on this full-time now to improve things, to recruit, entrepreneurs and talent from across the world to come here to Ontario, to make Ontario home, to start a business, to grow a business, and to fill the skills gap that we clearly have in our province. So the answer is yes.
Thank you. So, so a question here: are you able to comment on the regionalization of immigration and how important the distribution of newcomers throughout the province, not just in the GTA, is for the Ontario government? The issue is many new immigrants destined to Ontario tend to settle in the bigger cities. And while the federal government has that regional immigration program, do we as Ontarians, as the Minister of Immigration in Ontario, plan to leverage this type of program to kind of expand it further?
I'm really committed to ensuring that newcomers settle right across our province. I mean, when I talk about 200,000 jobs going unfilled every single day in our province, that's in every community. A recent study showed that 1 in 10 factories in our province are looking for talent and skilled workers. So it's imperative that we ensure that newcomers are settling province-wide. One of the exciting pilot projects that we have happening right now is expanding immigration to rural communities. I represent part of Chatham-Kent down in southwestern Ontario. They have a number of nominees through the OINP settling there and working in business there. So I see this as a huge opportunity. Those employers are desperately seeking talent, and immigration is going to fill a key role in filling that skills gap.
So thank you for this. And as a follow-up to this comment, will there be more incentives offered to smaller communities to help attract newcomers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, especially around the skilled trades, I mean, my mission is to get more young people and more immigrants into the skilled trades here in Ontario. We've offered a number of employer incentives to bring on apprentices, for example, where employers could get up to $4,000 for every apprentice, and it's based on ensuring that those apprentices are finishing level 1, level 2, level 3, and in some cases level 4. So this will go a long ways to encouraging employers to hire new Canadians and get them into apprenticeships.
Super. So we have a question about the Ontario College of Trades. Can you provide us an update on the situation with the Ontario College of Trades?
Yeah, there's been a lot of news about that. I mean, as I said, our mission is to get more people into the trades to fill the shortage of skilled trades workers that we have in our province. Just in construction alone, we're going to need more than 100,000 workers over the next decade. I think of the historic investments our government's making in subways, broadband expansion, natural gas expansion, roads and bridges, and upgrades to our energy system. I mean, we need thousands of workers to fill these jobs. So it's our priority to simplify the system. And one of the things that we've done recently is to bring in legislation called the Building Opportunities in the Skilled Trades Act that's going to close OCOT, which was a very complicated, it was a system that was riddled with red tape and barriers. And we're creating a standalone agency called Skilled Trades Ontario that's going to be a one-stop shop for employers, for apprentices, for new Canadians seeking meaningful jobs here in our province. It's all about ending the stigma around the trades, simplifying the apprenticeship system, and getting employers to bring on more apprentices.
Music to our ears. So you kind of touched on the quota for the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. Is there kind of any insight about how that will look like in 2021 or 2022?
Well, as I said, I mean, I do work closely and I'm in regular contact with the federal government to continue advocating on behalf of our province to increase the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program quota. I mean, we're best positioned, I feel, to fill those labor market gaps that we have. We have all of the data broken down by individual regions and communities, so it makes sense to continue to grow the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program here. Again, we've been successful this year. It went from about 6,700 to 9,000, and our ask is to essentially grow that to about 15,000 next year. I'm cautiously optimistic because we built this good relationship with the federal government, but I would ask everyone on the call to please advocate on our behalf. I mean, it makes sense from an economic perspective, and it makes sense because we can improve lives for thousands of people coming to Ontario.
For sure, and we're very strong on the lobbying side, and we've provided various submissions on federal level and even provincial level, and we'll continue to do so. So I'm not saying any more. Okay. Oh yes, we have a question. Will you do you foresee that invitations will continue to be affected based on knock codes, as in the first draw, or do you see this broadening out somehow in the future?
Well, again, we continue to look at all of the immigration policies here in our ministry. Some of them have been, as we said, just recently added to our ministry. But look, the goal is to make the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program and all other immigration policies user-friendly, with the goal of filling these labor market needs that we have in communities everywhere in Ontario. So we'll do whatever it takes. I commit to all of you on the call that we'll work very, very closely together to improve all of the programs that we offer. But again, this is about changing lives, improving lives, building stronger families and stronger communities.
Mr. McNaughton, thank you so much for all your information and sharing all of this with us today. And your presence really means a lot to us. We don't have any more questions, and we're closing in on the time that you've given towards us. So we really thank you again. And I'll leave the floor to our colleague Sylvia to present our next speakers. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Really an honor to be with all of you. Keep up the great work, and remember, my door is always open to you. Thank you.
Thank you.